Assignment time. Okay, trust me when I say this. This was a very lengthy assignment for an assignment 2. But there's a lot to learn with texture rendering and lighting, and I have to kind of compress a few things together in order to get it all down. Because keep in mind, we're just texturing. Now there's 2 other aspects to this class, rendering and lighting. So those in themselves could be a class. So that's what I'm talking about as far as there's a lot to learn here. There's no doubt about it. So for right now, for your assignment, what I want you to do is make a factory, and it's all about the inside of the factory that counts. Okay? So go around, make sure all the textures are put into place. Like this, for example, would not be good. Right there. That's a good example of what not to do. So that's going to be main building. And that's why I colorize stuff, because I can quickly see rolling around the room what I'm missing. Now there's a lot to do here. We've just kind of bridged the surface of this kind of building here. Think about it, we still have to worry about these windows. What do we do here? But these are different lessons, and I will introduce them as they come. You know, like how do you do a window? Maybe how do you do a 3D window that closely matches the window that's covered up by these boards? Okay, that way when you look out, you can look out to the outside. Those are texturing issues. And another thing I want you to do is worry about this. I'm going to be grading you upon how neat and organized your Hypershade looks. Right now, I have all these textures. Some aren't even being used. So let me show you something. It's called Optimize Scene Size. That got rid of all the textures I wasn't using, except for this one. So the material here needs to go away. It only kept the material and textures. So here's the textures, here's the materials that I'm using now. Notice all these are named conventionally. And ones that are not named conventionally, like this one right here, what is this? Well, you can go right click select objects with material and see if there's anything with this material on it. In fact, this is that little test thing that I brought in. Remember when I showed you about tiles and the pattern they produce if you tile them the wrong way? Yep. So do I need that? No. And then I can get rid of this one. So that's a great way to find out what is being used. Here's another way to do that. Right click, assign or select materials with objects. F on the keyboard allows you to traverse over to the area where that has that texture. So keep everything very named, organized. Here, namely organized. And also, I want you to start going like this. Edit. Make sure there's no history. Edit, delete by type history. Get rid of all that history. I want you to name this building conventionally. So this is not Fix Me Cube 2. This is building. These little pieces out here. Guy. So when I look in here, when I look in your outliner or your hypergraph, here's a hypergraph hierarchy. I'm going to find only things that are essential to this actual building. The buildings here, I got this polyplane. What is that? Again, junk. Get rid of it. This is that window. If I go edit, delete by type history, I can get rid of some of those nodes on it. Looks like there's 2 of them. There we go. Now we're down to the window itself, and I can name it window. Good. Guy polycube 1. So that's what your job is, to go in here and make sure that everything is named conventionally and get rid of anything that is not nailed down. I do not need this stick anymore. I will just use the one guy. So we can get rid of that too. There we go. So I've leaned down my scene quite a bit. So by optimizing scene size, that doesn't get rid of everything. There's a lot to clean up in the building hierarchy. Okay, another thing I want you to do before you go turning something like this in is utilize some compression. So check this out. I'm going to make a new folder on my hard drive. Building There we go. Whoops. And then go in, and I'm going to take and go like this. First, I'm going to set that project. I'm going to set it to building. Chapter 2, Jason Welsh. Oh, wait, no, forgo that thought. Hit set. Save scene as. There we go. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is go like this, Window, Settings and Preferences, Plugin Manager, and make sure my OBJ exporter is on. It is. So I'm going to go File, Export All. Make sure Materials is on. And go like this. Well, what did that do? Well, now I have these I gotta get rid of. Okay. The only thing I wanted to do was, if you look at building, wow, look at all the stuff is in here. Okay. I don't want that turned into me. This is a much cleaner directory structure. So let's get info on this. And you can see that this is 134 megabytes. Okay. Well, a lot of this is lossless compression textures. And I want to get rid of everything that isn't nailed down. I would say this brick texture right here, I don't think I've ever used the PSD version of it, but I definitely want to make sure that's a TIFF. Okay, so there we go. We've now gotten rid of that. I do want to move this to the trash, and that should be brick 2. We're gonna have to open the scene here momentarily, because I bet you anything that will cause a lot of havoc, and sure enough it did. To repair that, all I do is have to go into Rendering Editor's Hypershade and find the one that was Wall's main building. Look at my textures. There's brick 2. And just make sure everything is under 6 on the keyboard. I should have textures on all walls. Okay, good. All right, that's what I want. I want this all nicely neat. Can save the scene now, and to hand this in, you're going to have to compress the file. So I'm going to compress this folder. Now it's a mere 63 megs. Lossless compression will actually nicely compress in the zip folder. Alright, so that's how I want it turned in. Turn that into me via however I'm choosing whatever college I'm teaching at the time. And that'll be it for this chapter. And please move on to the next when you are done.